That was a great point, Tommy and Aaron, and I don't think we need to discuss that anymore. I think we're good.
I
I think
feel
we're good.
like, yeah, I mean, I feel like that should really be the wrap up the episode if you think about
Yeah,
it. I mean,
we should, probably
what
should have
else
ended with
can,
that. We probably should have ended that with that for sure. So
I mean, that's what we're ending with. So
yeah,
thank you so much for guys for joining. Peace out. All right, let's get this party started. What are you doing, Gary? I like the shirts that you got on. Is this a Solomon shirt?
is this a Solomon shirt? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't get to wear it
yeah,
that often. I like it.
yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you like it, Gary. I'm glad you like it. We are the PR Project. My name is Tommy Runs. We got Gary. We got Aaron, and we are runners that talk about running, and we talk about other stuff too. We
We
haven't
run
talked
too.
about animals. We run as well.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about animals in a long time. Is that because we haven't had any animal interaction, or
No.
um
I got stung by a bee last week.
wow?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not allergic.
Yeah. I'm
He
not.
may be.
But
He might have.
Do y'all know?
He might have
Do
hit
y'all know
himself with
anybody?
the EpiPen just in time.
Do y'all know anybody that's electric? Electric? You know anybody that's allergic to bees?
yeah. My
Who?
daughter's dance teacher.
Your daughter's dance teacher is allergic to bees?
He's electric and he's allergic.
Man, I think my aunt is my mom's sister is allergic to bees, and um I think like because if you're allergic, that means you're like deathly terrified, automatic.
Yeah, you got a reason to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like literally, it's like it's a real situation. But then it makes everybody who's afraid of bees that isn't electric kind of ridiculous.
Well,
I mean,
there's
it
a lot
still
of people who
hurts.
don't. My dad's never been stung by a bee. He doesn't know if he's allergic or not. And he doesn't
That's
want to find out.
good point. Good
You
point.
know.
You don't
There's
ever
that
want to
too.
find out.
When
Yeah.
you put
Yeah.
it that way, now that I think of it, I've never been stung by a bee either, so I don't know either.
Yeah. So
How have you guys made it through this much time of like? How do you make it past 10 without getting stung by a bee?
I'm just built different.
Just be repellent, you know. I mean, but it's almost like, am I immortal? I don't know if I want to find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you test this theory?
yeah, I don't think you do. I think you just
You just are immortal.
yeah. You probably go in with I don't think you should go in with the immortal mindset. I think that's gonna cause some other problems down the road. But like running into traffic or
I mean, no, that's just dumb. I mean, just because you're immortal doesn't mean you want to get hit by a car. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to. You don't have to be reckless to be immortal.
well, how are you gonna test it?
Just live really, really long without. I mean, do vampires go around jumping into traffic? I don't think so.
You don't know. How many vampires do you know? Honestly.
6
Name one.
easy. 6 easy. Yeah. So honestly, this is a good. Thanks, Joe, for getting us this party started. So, if you had to pick, which mindset do you think is more effective in real life situations? Immortal mindset or Mamba mindset?
I'm gonna go Mamba.
Your Mamba too, Aaron?
Yeah.
How?
Because immortal mindset
Mamba
means you just stupid, bro.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I mean, immortal mindset, you just stupid. That means you just out here risking. You're taking unnecessary risk because you know
Yeah.
that you believe that you can't die because it's just the mindset. It's not the actual. You know.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Mamba mindset is I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna work hard to get the immortal status.
No.
Legendary status.
Mamba mindset doesn't mean you work hard. It just means you get out there and you play hard. You don't have to do any work.
No, it's work hard, play hard for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, fine.
Practice
Mamba
how you do it.
mentality wins. If any vampires are listening to this episode, who cares about your immortality? Try Mamba.
See, that's how you're gonna turn into a vampire just by insulting vampires like that.
If I wouldn't mind it. I think that I would bring Mamba mentality to my immortal state.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is I'm probably the smartest people that most people know. So which way I lean, people probably should go with that. So with that being said, let's jump into the show.
Again.
Again. We got a couple hot topics to talk about today. Are we going with like the obvious hot topic of like a very run nerdy thing we could talk about, or do we go with something more personal, which is also run nerdy, but we did it today? Possibly some of us did.
Let's go with the top story.
Top story. All right, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who is, I don't even know how many world records. I think he holds like the 2-mile world record and like the 1500. I think he's got a bunch. He's one of the great 1500 meter runners. He's mainly on the track. He does everything on the track. He's a track athlete for sure. Been very dominant over the last several years, or at least few years. And he won the 1500 at the Diamond League something or other. Brussels Diamond League final. He won the 1500 on Friday. And then Sunday morning, he ran. I think you should point out
that the Diamond League final was the big Olympic rematch, too. So it wasn't like he just won the Diamond League
final. Josh Kerr wasn't there, so it was.
Oh, he wasn't?
No,
never mind.
I don't think he was supposed to be, but he didn't. So yeah, it was a big deal. It was like the final meet of the year for the men for sure, because a very important meet is coming up this next weekend, which is the 776 Invitational, which is a women's only invitational in New York. It'll be a lot of the women's last meet of the year, as long as they run like one of the 4 to 5 distances that they're going to have there. It's an indoor track meet. There is no field. It's just track. They picked, I think, the 100, the 4, the 8, and I think maybe the 1500 meter. And that's it, I think. So it was like their last thing. And then 2 days later, he ran the Copenhagen half. He stopped. The reason why it's called Jakob jumps in/out halfway. He jumped into the half and he stopped promptly after passing the 10K mark.
Yeah.
Is that surprising?
Did you read where he went out and set like a Norwegian 10K road record?
I mean, but does that even count?
It doesn't count, but I mean, that's, like, he went after it, like he does when he runs the 1500. Like, he wasn't gonna. I don't think he knows the word pace yet, because he took off.
Yeah, no, he definitely took off. He went out I think he went out at 58-minute pace with the rest of the leaders, and totally like he just stopped, like a hard stop. It wasn't like I like trailed off. He passed the 10K mark. I watched it a little bit ago, and he like literally took 2 steps and stopped. And stood there for a little bit, took off, did it again, took off. And like he was doing that yo-yo thing. Yeah. He finished 63:13 though. Is that impressive?
Right. I think so.
It's not a bad debut.
I mean,
yes, stopping like 4 times.
An hour 3. Yeah, that's I'll give him that. I will say I would love to hear like his mindset at first stop.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I actually have a quote here.
Okay, go.
I ran until I was about to die and stopped. Ran until I was about to die again and stopped. It's probably not a very smart or clever way to run a half marathon. That was his recap of the race.
I mean, that's pretty much how running goes.
This is the worst run I ever had.
Okay.
All right.
Because he said that before this, he said his threshold pace is about 21K in 60 minutes. So he should have been able, but going out at 58 minutes is different though too, and being with people that like do this day. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, you had the world record holder in the half marathon in the field. In running a track, I'm not saying he only runs track. I mean, obviously he does a lot of miles outside of the track. Running a road race is so much different, It requires different muscles and different train of thought.
That's a good point. What was the course like in terms of like elevation? Do you know?
I don't think there was much elevation at all, but I mean, watching it, they had like
they said it's fast and flat. That was
but it was a bunch of turns. It was a bunch of turns.
He's used to You know,
He's used to turning
16
left.
turns in a mile.
Turn
He's
left
used to
there. That
turning
first
left.
right turn was like, whoa.
Yeah, that first right turn, he's like, I don't know where I'm going.
His left
Bef-
leg was like sweet relief. Like this is
Yeah.
awesome.
But no, he but right before he stopped, they made a right turn, and he tried to, I think he tried to like cut the corner, not cut the corner, but just hold tight to the right like barrier, and literally bumped the barrier on this right side. It was cool to see somebody jump into something like that and then like go for it still, but then at the same time it was like media super hyped it, you know, like, oh, he's gonna go after the world record and all this stuff. Like what are we talking about? Like, if he broke the world record, it should have just been like it should have been a surprise to everybody, and that's it. Like, people were like hyping it. He flew in. They say he flew in yesterday.
Yeah.
And then had media, and I'm thinking, you know how normally they have all the elites like lined up front, you know, ready to go. He was the last person to get there, and he didn't even have his leotard on all the way. Like, he was like putting his arms into his onesie, like, and zipping it up like on the line. Like,
I will say
not good.
That's not for a debut half. If you go in like, just, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna jump in this thing. I'm not even ready and go, because you only get one chance to not have to really overthink it, and that's it right there. Like,
true.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm just
he
gonna
must
go
be.
in and go for it.
He must really be thinking. I mean, obviously he's thinking about, you know, obviously like that's probably the next part of his because he was super dominant for like, you know, until this year he was like super dominant for like a couple years in a row.
What about?
And I feel like it's next.
I'm reading this article from thetimes.com. It says the Norwegian, who has never suffered from a crisis of confidence, has said he wants to break world records in every distance from the 1500 to the marathon. So he's definitely got and they say he considers himself an endurance runner. So
yeah,
he's got eyes set on trying to at least compete at the very least over these distances and break world records. So
I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah.
Is he gonna like? So I know he won the 5,000 at the Olympics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't done the 10 on a big stage, so he's just gonna leapfrog that, which is again not unusual. I mean, you know, all of a sudden Calvin Kipton went from like some races on the track to half and then full. So it's
I don't even think he tested. I don't even know if he tested the track.
Well, when we asked him about it, he's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah, but I asked him like which shoe he liked better, and he said Vaporfly, and that's what he did in Chicago. But he wore the Alpha Fly in Chicago, so
speaking
I think
of shoes,
bro was nervous.
What shoe was he wearing? Did you see?
Alpha.
Yeah.
It's Alpha Flies are a little different than spikes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, a little
bit. If
he
wore spikes and then posted a 63, kudos, good sir.
Yeah, and then Joe said should mention the winners first, but thumbs up. Yeah, that's not as fun. So I mean, should we really, you know, whenever like, you know, I don't know about that. When we talked about Joe last week in his PR, we didn't mention the winner one time.
Touche.
Nobody cares about the winner unless it's the guy that we wanted to win. That's just how it is. That's how life is. I don't care about the winner of the Sri Tanadar race. I care about Joe, you know? So
I think if the world record had been broken, we would probably be talking about that as well. But
yeah. But like I said though, like we care about Joe, so we talked about Joe for that race, you know. And right now, if Jacob Kiplimo won, which he was supposed to be, he was the favorite. If he won, he's getting a nod. I haven't heard the guy.
Okay, hold on. Actually. If you're an announcer for the race, and Jacob versus Jakob, Jacob and Jakob, first and second. Whew.
Oh man, yeah. You got to be you got to be careful with your.
You got to be Jacob
Jacob and Jacob, you know, neck to neck, coming down the finish line. But no, it's a fast race. I can't believe how fast that they run. Like watching it on because it's on YouTube now. Because they had a live, they did it. You know, had the live on the website, but it's on YouTube now, and they just run stupid fast. I just can't understand it. I don't process like that speed. I can't run that speed for a mile, even close.
Right.
Like they're running for
I got 800 maybe.
Yeah, they're running 425 like through the streets of wherever they're running.
I have always wanted to do that that Kipchoge treadmill you see at the Abbott's.
Yeah.
But I'm always racing.
That's the crazy part is they're not even doing they're running faster than that for 13 miles. Because they're running fit the what I think the PR the world record is 57:31. Like that's if Kipchoge did that twice, that's math is mathing. That's like an hour and 55. That's like an hour and 55 minute marathon. That's ridiculous. Anyway, we're gonna see somebody break 2 hours in the next like 2 years, I think.
I don't think it's gonna be Jakob though.
No, it's not gonna be Jakob. It's not gonna be Jakob. It'll be like Jacob Kiplimo. You know what I mean? It'll be him.
Yeah. So the winner, Sebastian Sawe, I believe is how you pronounce it, beat out Jacob Kiplimo, the current half marathon world record holder. No, is he still the world record holder?
Yeah,
half marathon?
Yeah. It was from 2022. Okay.
Yeah, and then a last clip about Jakob from the Times. Without any training geared to the distance, but with his brother and co-coach Philip recruited as one of the pacemakers, he went out with the leaders on a fast flat course and actually set a Norwegian record for 10 kilometers with a time of 27:27. However, he then took 16 minutes to complete the next 5 kilometers. Other runners confessed they thought he had retired as they saw him waving to the crowd.
It took him a whole 16 minutes.
Yeah, 16 minutes for the next 5K. What a slow ass.
Get off the course.
Oh my gosh. Loser.
I love when they say dropping out, they call dropping out retiring because it just sounds so dramatic.
Yeah. He retired. Yeah, they the live thing, they kept thinking he was waiting to get picked up, but he was like, I'm finishing this race. We're doing this.
I just gotta catch my breath. Just give me a second.
You're a better man than me.
Bro, imagine being able to pull up a couple times and stop and still running under 65 minutes, under an hour and 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That just shows you, like, honestly, that shows you how fast, like, the elites are.
Right.
Like a dude that like runs much faster than that for a 5K or a 2 mile. He ran 2 mile in like 7 minutes and some change or whatever it is. Like that's the world record on the track. And he can't even hold with them for 10 miles. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He'll get better though.
Oh, what'd you say about Faith earlier before we started?
The day before, Faith had said
Faith
Kipyegon was inspired that a 1,500 meter runner was going to jump into a half marathon. So she felt inspired. So who knows? Maybe she'll be the next, 1,500 meter record holder to make the leap. Yeah,
she's got the 15, the 5, and the 10, I think, on the track. Yeah. She's ridiculous. Yeah. All right. So back to reality, back to where we are. This is also a nerdy section of the day. As we come up to fall marathons and races for fall, spring, whatever, there's the simulator run and then there's the tune-up race. For the people in the chat, which one do you prefer? If both of them, they're definitely not the same. So like a simulator run, I guess in our minds, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Simulator run is like you're going out, you try to map out a route that mimics something about the race that you're going to run, and you go out and you try to race that race. You run that distance, like maybe like a half marathon or so, or whatever that said distance is for you and your coach, and you run it at like goal marathon pace or goal race pace or somewhere around. And then a tune-up race would be more like you actually sign up for a race in preparation for your bigger A goal race and run it similar, but like prep and all that stuff, you're kind of like getting ready to race.
Get your fuel, get your kit, get your shoes. Yeah.
So if you're in the chat, which one do you prefer? Because some people want to do like kind of some solitude with some friends, or some people want to jump in a race and have like the energy of the race. What's your your preferred method of madness? Simulator run or tune-up race? What about you guys first? Aaron, what would you rather?
I would rather a tune-up race, just because you have the energy of a race day. And racing can be fun, especially when you're super fit and it's not the pressure of like the main race in your block. So in the spring, I ran Rock and Roll DC as my tune-up race for Martian Marathon, and it was a half, and that was super cool because I was just kind of hanging out. I knew I wasn't pressing the gas all the way down, so you can enjoy the race. You can kind of mess around a little bit, just kind of feel it out. I also did a couple years ago, because I didn't run a marathon in last fall, but the fall before that, when we ran New York in 2022, my tune-up race was the free press, and that was fun. I ran like a half marathon PR by like 3 minutes, and it was just overall like an enjoyable time, because it didn't ever feel like I was really like maxing out, but I was still running faster than I had ever ran over that distance. So I think I would prefer a tune-up race, but a simulator run that's not in a race kind of gives you that same, especially if you're running if your goal race is a smaller marathon, and you're going to probably be by yourself at some point. That simulator run, if you're running it without any assistance from like pacers or anything like that, or bike support or anything like that, it's just you in a row. It kind of gives you that same feeling of solitude and kind of individuality, because you have to just run it, and you have to be controlled, and you have to be smart, and you have to rely on yourself to keep the pace right and all of that. So I think they both have pros and cons, but I would lean towards tune-up race would be my preference.
I would think the simulator race, I think, would be good for a quieter, smaller marathon too, versus like a tune-up race with crowds and whatnot. You're not going to get the same crowd you're going to get in a marathon, but it definitely mimics it a little bit more than would be when you're out on your own. I don't think I've ever actually done a simulator. The most I've done is like a tempo run, but not like a simulator race. I think I would prefer the tune-up race though. Like, I like that atmosphere. I enjoy it. I enjoy the anticipation of the start gun, and then really focusing on pace, especially in a crowd where it's easy to like see that person up ahead of you and say, I'm going to track them down and pass them, and then next thing you know, you're way above your pace, or way below your race pace, and so it's a good opportunity to kind of control your emotions, see how you feel, see what needs to be changed prior to going into your big goal race. I see the benefits of a simulator for sure. Like you mentioned, in terms of like in a marathon, at the end of the day, you are going to be running solo. It's so hard to find somebody to run with in a marathon. So there are definitely benefits to both, but I'm more of a tune-up race. And it looks like most of the chat is here too, except for one person.
Well, Gary, thanks for referring to the chat before you swung that back over to me. So thanks so much.
That's how we do it. See, it's called the weave. It's called the weave.
I'm gonna mute you for I'm gonna put you in penalty box 5 minutes. Time
out 5 minutes.
Time out 5 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm actually probably simulator. I understand like being able to go to a tune-up race and like having the nerves and stuff like that, but I've done both. Like I've done a tune-up race, which is cool, but then I also have done a simulator where it felt like it was a little more controlled, and it's just part of the training. It's no big extra effort, like mentally. You can just kind of stay locked in, and it's a little harder to find a tune-up race. Sometimes like if in your area, at least I'm sure if like you're in New York or DC or whatever, it's like probably a race every other weekend. But sometimes it can be a little tougher to find something and then also have it match your like the elevation you need or whatever it is. So I like we only talked about it because you guys did it today, Ern and Aaron. and it was like it's much more controlled. It's really cool. You get to you can have friends involved. You can pick your time, all that stuff. And I think I like the control of a simulator versus like needing to get the nerves out. Like I'm okay with being nervous, like race morning and stuff like that. And you can practice all that stuff, fueling and stuff like that in the simulator too. And it's just more controlled setting for me.
Yeah, and the tricky part is in a tune-up race, the temptation to
go faster.
is very strong. And Joe put in the chat, we were enjoying the sights in DC along the course. This was for in the spring for Rock and Roll DC. Definitely me and Joe ran for like the first 10 miles together, just hanging out, right? And then Joe said, I thought, let me drop Aaron before he dropped me. Ultimately, I failed because Joe left me after, there was this big hill at like mile 8. And I thought that was the end of Joe Robinson, right? I thought he was gone. I'm like, okay.
Farewell, Joe Robinson.
I guess I'm on my own now. But he ended up catching me, and then he ended up just like blowing by me. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess Joe's feeling good. He's gonna do his thing. But then we kind of yo-yo back and forth as the hills went. And eventually I kind of broke off from him, and I think I finished maybe like 30 seconds ahead of him. But
man, that's a long time, man. You really dropped them something crazy.
No, but that's the thing,
I was just trying to like
running with somebody. When you're running with somebody, you create rivalries in races with people you've never met before. It could be one little thing. They could like toss their gel packet wrong, and you're like, I don't like you, and now I have to. So it's a lot of temptation. It's a lot of trickiness involved in a tune-up race, whereas in a simulator, it's just you versus you, really. Like that's the only thing. Well, you versus your watch, to be honest, because there's nothing else really to trigger you in that way.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're both good. I think it needs to be one or the other. Like, and I think just depending on your area and what your preference is, I think you definitely need to do one or the other. I think just going into it without having any nerve, because like even with the simulator, you still build up those nerves. It's the biggest workout you're gonna do, for the most part. So it's like I think you need to have those nerves going into race day. Race day can't be the first time like you feel nervous shouldn't be to me the first time you feel nervous for a run. But yeah, so like you said,
you should feel nervous for a run for a lot of different reasons, the workouts, and
we got Mark in here. Mark says a tune-up race for sure. Nice half marathon, about 3 to 4 weeks out from marathon, run marathon pace. And that's the other thing. Like you do have to. It feels kind of crazy to sign up for a race and pay for it and then not race it like you would a half marathon. So it's really like, can you do this, in a mature way and get it done and run your pace you're supposed to run? Allison said tune-up race. Malik said tune-up race. I'm 10 toes down on it. I don't know why I read it like that. I don't know why I read it like I was trying to be cool. Like I just tried to get cool, like in the middle of it. Sorry.
No, you sounded cool. Don't worry, you got it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for reassuring me. Aaron was gonna leave me hanging.
No, it wasn't about how you said it. It was just what was said.
The 10 toes down.
The on it part is crazy.
The on it was 2 syllables too much. Elizabeth said tune up. Can practice fueling, kit, shoes, pacing, etc. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. And this is my favorite comment of the chat so far. GT said, just joined. Follow up from last week. Did you try Morton bicarb? Any explosive? Anything? I had every intention of trying Morton bicarb this past Wednesday, but forgot. And I think I'm actually happy I forgot because I at this point in my life, I don't know if I can afford explosive anything. Like I just can't. I don't know. I think
weak.
I don't care what you call me, Gary. I don't have time, bro. I have like, even if I didn't have anything to do for a whole 7 days, just nothing to do, no runs, no work, no nothing, I would absolutely not want explosive diarrhea.
I don't think anybody has been like, yes.
Yeah, I think it was like, give me the explosive diarrhea. I'm just saying,
go
how
to the
bad
internet
do you
right.
want it? How bad do you want that extra 1%?
Go to the internet right now, and I guarantee you'll find a bunch of people doing stuff that ended in them having explosive diarrhea just because those people woke up that morning like
Don't
sure,
Google that. Don't Google that, people.
No, I'm not telling you what to Google. I'm saying what I didn't say. Drop this in the search bar. All right, let's move on because Joe said we talked about pooping too much last week.
Oh, when Joe said it.
Oh, and then he said, "Did you say no runs?" All right. Okay. All right. All right. And then Mark said, the fact that it is still hot out will it ever cool down for us at Chicago? I'm saying yes.
You're too loud.
I'm saying yes.
You're too loud, bro.
I think this is, I know it's going to be a hot one this week. I haven't looked at anything past this week.
If it's
Nothing,
trending hot.
No weather past this week is valid anyway, because
That's true.
They just guess.
But if it's trending hot right now in both places, like because we're in Michigan, so we get the same, pretty much the same thing. If it's trending hot right now and it stays hot for the next like 2 weeks here, you're kind of golden,
I just need
get that lake effect snow.
I just needed to be reasonable for 3 hours on one day.
That's it.
It can be hot for the rest of my life.
So it can do it can do anything it wants to do after our race. As soon as you finish cross the line, crank that boy up to 85.
Turn up.
I think I'm hoping everything will be good. Mark said 45 Fahrenheit, please. Is that the temp that if you could pick a number, Aaron, what number would you pick?
40.
Temperature wise, Fahrenheit. 40? What do you want, Gary?
If it stays 45 the whole race, like it's one thing to start at 45, that's fine. It's as the race goes on, that's the issue.
Yeah. If I could pick a set temperature, like turn the thermostat onto a thing, I think I'd pick like 51.
Yeah.
Just all the way through. No sun.
I started the free press in 2022. It was 37 degrees.
And then what happened?
I didn't wear gloves. I had shorts.
Wait, no. If it's 37, if it's 37 degrees when I start, I got a beanie on, I got gloves, I got a scarf.
Tommy, you got a full-on snowmobile suit, moon boots.
I don't tank arm sleeves, shorts, and one single leg sleeve because for the swag. 37 degrees. Thug it out.
I'm fine with that.
And Alexis says, "Am I remembering right that people say that Berlin has a lot of shade on the course?" I don't remember that. No, me personally, I remember that.
Stuff about you the whole time.
A lot of shade, like man, you see that girl in her shoes.
Heard that. I've heard that too, but obviously Tommy is an eyewitness. Right.
Yeah, no, the year that I ran last year. The year that I ran last year, and there's no shade. It's just normally cool. Because Berlin isn't built. It's not like New York. Like it's like built up crazy. Like it's a lot. You go through a lot of like residential and a lot of like just normal 3, 4, 5 story building areas. From if I remember correctly, and I just don't remember there being a lot of shade, negative comments or shade from the sun.
He thinks he's fast.
Look at this idiot. Ern says Tommy wore gloves in August. You say that as if like we don't live in Michigan where it was 42 degrees.
Yeah,
I'm wearing gloves. Awesome. I'm wearing gloves and a short sleeve shirt. That's like my favorite weather. If I could pick a running weather all year round, it would be like 45 to 50, short sleeves, shorts, and gloves.
I got the offensive lineman mindset, bro. I'm out there, arms out in the snow because I don't care.
I mean,
I'm here to do work.
That was something. I mean, an August glove.
Crazy.
You guys act like I put like it was 87 degrees, and I was like, I'm just wearing gloves in August. Like it was 6 something in the morning. And
No,
Is
no.
that
If it
what
was
wrong-
6
is
in
that
the
the wrong
morning,
song?
Ern wasn't there. It was 6 in the morning. Ern wasn't there.
that doesn't mean that he doesn't know about it. Well, wait, what are we talking about? What run are we talking about? I don't even remember wearing gloves. Yeah, actually, this is cap. It's all cap. I didn't wear
No,
gloves in
I
August.
remember.
Never mind, move on.
I seen you wear gloves. I see you wear. I see you on Instagram wearing gloves for sure.
Hey, I'm all about comfort though. Like if it means I'm comfortable for longer parts of the run, then I'm fine. Like my grandmother always says, you can SOST soft. No, but like my grandma always say, like you can overdress and you can always take items away, but if you don't have them, you can't throw them on. So
Just
one of
run
these
them
days,
fast.
y'all gonna be like, one of these days you're gonna be shivering, looking at me like, dang, Eric, Tommy, can I borrow them gloves? I'm like,
When
no.
have you ever seen me shiver?
Savannah, you want me? You want?
That's different.
Like I
That's
like I
different.
wasn't there. You was
that was rain.
jackhammering, bro. Yeah, that was ice rain. Ice
I think
rain.
Jack
All
Hammer
right.
is something different.
Jackhammering is crazy.
I mean,
Thank you. I kind of mentioned it a little bit under my breath, but no, thank you.
yeah, that was really well done under your breath, Gary. Everybody heard it. All right. Ryan Butler says, as a runner golfer, we need more Tommy runs golf content. Is that true?
Yeah,
Sure.
I would agree.
All right. Yeah.
I would agree.
All right. Let's do
Because
that.
why have the talent if you're not showing it off?
I mean, I think that how people be like sandbagging where they like don't do something on purpose that they're good at just so that they can like how whenever we run by a basketball court, you be like, I can get on this court, right now. Like that's how I feel. Like whenever somebody talk about golfing, I kind of like I could beat you right now, bro. And I ain't played in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I like being able to say that. And then one of these days somebody go be like, bet, and then I'm gonna lose, and then I'm not gonna do it no more.
Oh, you're gonna be like Uncle Phil that one episode when he was like break out Lucille and he started playing pool on.
yeah. I mean, I just feel like golf and running is like a single person's duo of activities, because the amount of time that it takes to play golf and then also run a good amount of miles is like you're just not home.
Right. All those golf memes about how the husband's out for like 6 hours. It applies to
that's real. Oh, right.
It applies to running.
It applies to running. Yeah, it applies to running. Like if you do like long run days, you're gone for 2 to 3 or 4 hours probably.
I mean, short run days.
Yeah, that's for 6 miles. All right, so we got a lot of talk on here. Tokyo was cold in the shade and nice in the sun. Tokyo was very strange. Yeah, Tokyo was like if you were running in the shade for a little too long, it was a little too much going on. It was just too cold. But then sun, it was like perfect. All right, man.
I've only ran one race in my entire life when I'm like, man, that race was a little cold, and that was New Year's Eve run on Belle Isle. No. Yeah. No, Jingle Bell run.
Jingle Bell.
Yeah.
It was windy. Yeah. That wind was whipping, cold.
But the sun was out though, so I know you got sick. But when you go back to the Riverwalk part, it was hot because that sun was coming off the river.
Then maybe it was. Yeah. It was the New Year's Eve run last year. Because I wore a headband. And
yeah, that was cold.
Yeah, it was pretty cold that day. Yeah. It was pretty cold that day.
Which is to be expected on that island,
Yeah, it was even worse. Yeah, it was even worse on Belle Isle for sure. Right off the water. I think my tears froze that day.
Yeah, and I was talking about it earlier. I don't like running the Riverwalk.
Oh, really?
Am I the only person?
Detroit was voted number one Riverwalk in the country.
I still haven't run the extension.
It's better than the original part, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I thought that's what we were gonna do. That's what we were gonna do today. I
thought about it, but we would have had to do like a loop-de-loop to get onto the Belle Isle Bridge, and I really wasn't trying to do that. So
sure.
We decided against it. I think it worked out for the best, though.
No, today was great. Today was fine. Belle Isle still is Belle Isle is much more difficult than I thought. Than I
You know
think
what the
every
problem
time.
is? I noticed today was that I turned right off the bridge, so like towards the fountain and around, and it goes a lot farther than I think it's going to. I feel like it's gonna like with the way the trees kind of line up around the different parks, and
I
I
think
feel
that's
like
it. It's like an obstacle.
once I get past these
collision.
trees, I'm gonna make the turn to go around, and you're not. Like, you gotta go
You're
like
only like halfway.
yeah. I
Mhm.
always forget like the coast guards at the end of it, and yeah, every time.
And
Yeah,
then you
no,
get back there by the golf course, and it's just like, okay, where am I going?
Yeah.
And then you realize like you got to run that way and then turn again. And it's like, where am I?
And then you see how far away the MacArthur Bridge is. You're like, oh,
And yeah, you see it for like 20 minutes for sure.
oh, that's not cool. Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
called the McDonald's Bridge this whole time. But then when you see like the Renson, it's like
Because you grimace when you go up that hill.
You see like, but when you see like the GM building, it's like, yo, I'm so far away from where we started, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't like it. I don't like it. That's why the Growler is so it can be difficult, you know. Anyway,
the Growler 10-miler.
Yeah, Growler 10-mile. It's a good race. It's a good race.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing what is it? How many weeks before
I mean, they just
Free
had it
Press
last
is
weekend,
that?
right?
Before Free
Well, they
Press?
just-
2 weeks before Free Press?
Well, it's next week, and then Free Press is the week after Chicago, so it's 4 weeks out.
Oh, 4 weeks. Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
they
so
already
like
had it.
we're talking about simulators. That's actually it's not 13, but I mean that'd be a good race to jump in if you gotta, and that's normally probably the biggest tempo people would have without doing a race in their block.
I think I used that as a tune-up for Eugene, the first Eugene.
Did you?
Didn't I?
I don't know about that one.
No, because Eugene is in the spring.
Oh yeah, right. So then it had to be.
I think it was Boston. I think it was October Boston.
Oh really?
Probably.
I think you use it as a tune-up. No. When did you run Growler?
Chicago. Maybe it was Chicago then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
My mom says that I should have been on the PGA Tour.
Emotional damage.
No, I mean, no, it wasn't. It definitely. I mean, I appreciate my mom for always believing in me. But PGA Tour was a little farther away than we would have thought. All right. So another thing that happened today, Sydney Marathon. Sydney Marathon is a contender to be the 7th world major.
They just
so
did this past weekend, right? Was it Sydney this past
today?
weekend?
This morning.
Yeah, because I saw some folks who are in like the World Abbott Age Group Championships.
Yeah,
were down there.
Yeah,
which
so
is kind of fun.
So because the World Abbott Age Group was now, if you run now this year, then it turns into a major next year, you get a star. You get a whatever they call it, the star. But if it takes 2 years and you try to run next year before it becomes a official major, you don't get the star. It had something to do with like the age group thing.
Interesting.
Sounds
like a lot of math.
Yeah. They're probably gonna have like 8 or 9 majors before like 2028.
I just think it's kind of crazy that they named a marathon after Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, and she's not even
she's not even from Australia.
Yeah,
she's not even from Australia. It's like, that's cool.
I mean, she is that good though.
Right.
Yeah. What are we gonna name this marathon? Pick one of the best. Has nothing to do with the location of the race at all. Okay. Joe says he has a serious question. We will be the judge.
All right.
How do you feel about running a marathon as your tune-up? Oh, God. Bro said, I'll do that.
Hey, hypothetically, if I had a friend who ran a tune-up race, it was a marathon.
A full marathon
tune-up race.
Whilst training.
My other
Bro said waltzed.
For our other marathon. So hypothetically, like, what do you think of that?
What do we think?
Serious
We don't know
question.
anybody. We don't know anybody that did that. But given your marathon goal is much faster than your tune-up goal, what do we think of that? I'll let you go first, Aaron.
So I would say,
Look, Mark's. I didn't realize that Joe just did this last week, right? Yeah, like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Huh.
I would say that running what people consider over distance is pretty common in certain training philosophies. But the thing is, you have to be able to complete that marathon or that super long run, that over distance run, in no longer than 3 hours and 30 minutes at the absolute max. Because it's not really a question of whether you can do it. It's a question of whether you can recover from it. Because if you're saying this doesn't work for somebody that runs a 4-hour marathon, or if their goal is 4 hours, and you say, well, I think you should run a marathon in training, but just run it slower than your goal marathon, then they're going to be out there for 4.5 hours, and it's going to take them 2 weeks to recover from that. And that puts a huge albatross in the middle of your training if you are on your feet for 4 hours. As the rule of thumb is, your long run shouldn't be longer than 3 hours anyway. So, Joe, you ran 2:57. That was
allegedly,
right, because those people hand timing it or whatever. But
not allegedly Joe did this, like not hypothetically. Joe's talking about it.
Yeah, right, just in general. But yeah, if you can do it in rule of thumb, try to keep your long run no more than 3 hours. So if you can complete a marathon in less than 3 hours and you have your eyes set on running a marathon in 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes, sure. If you have the base and you can recover from it, go for it. But I wouldn't recommend this to a novice or even like an intermediate runner. This is somebody that has a lot of training under their belt and they're dialed in enough to know what they're doing.
Right. I mean, typically a marathon tune-up race is for an ultra, really, like a 50K and beyond. So I think you're right in terms of like how much time on feet you should do for a training run. I think if you've got a good coach, which I'm probably is true on this, and you're following the training and you dial everything in, I'm assuming you're going to have a successful goal marathon. But it's definitely not out of the, it's not the norm for sure.
Yeah. Because most people that would do, over distance, what you call it? What do they call it? Over distance. Yeah. Like most people that do over distance are running intentionally. Like I know like this hypothetical question was much like your goal is much faster than the tune-up goal, but like it would be even more drastic. Like you would almost lean more towards getting to that like 3:20, 3:30. Like it's really just the time. It's like extreme time on feet, and maybe finish out a little faster. But yeah, I think you would. It's an extreme long run as opposed to like an extreme long workout, because it's not like danger. I'm not saying it's dangerous because it's running's running. As long as you recover, you recover. I think to answer the question, I think you did it well. I think you did it really well. You had other reasons to do it, so you did it, and you did it smart. You didn't go stupid and try to like prove something when you didn't need to. You raced it within your means, and then got back to running the next day. And that's all that's really important. If you can get back and run the next day, and the week after that, and the week after that means you did it right. That means you also trained right going up to it, because that's another thing. How do you have to train into something like that well enough to be able to continue after. Like you can't super taper and then run this race or run this tune-up race and then have to like ramp back up slowly. And then where are you? Like, what was the point of it if you can't? And I think the way you did it potentially built on fitness, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in all seriousness, watching you bounce back from that and then still like hit these tough ass workouts has been
Mhm.
impressive.
Oh, come on,
For
guys. Come
sure.
on. Come.
I know, but
Okay. That's enough. All right. Because
look, I said
next
it,
thing you
I said it,
know,
I said it now, and I never have to say it again because it's on.
I can see the caption. I can see the captions now. Let's move on before someone gets hurt. All right. No, but for real, good job. As we all know, we're talking directly at something Joe did, which is awesome. Appreciate you, brother. All right. So yeah. Where are we, guys? Oh, talking about the race that Joe's talking about, which is his goal race. We got Berlin Marathon, the fourth major of the year, 2 weeks away from now in Berlin, Germany. I will be there. Joe will be there. Alexis will be there.
Alexa, yeah.
Bunch of other people, thousands even, you know. And Berlin's supposed to be a fast race, a fast course. People talk about how fast it is. I'll go on record saying that I think it's a place where people go intentionally to run fast. Thus, it's a fast race. I didn't feel like the course itself is just like it's not gonna do you any favors. That's what I'm saying. Like I went there because every time I say Berlin, oh man, that's a fast course. That's a fast course. I got on the course thinking it was gonna be a treadmill going faster than me, going with me.
I think it's just in my smart ass brain that when people be like, "Oh, it's a fast course," the first thing I want to say is I didn't know the course could run.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It ain't going away from you. It's not downhill. It's not like it. It doesn't. I mean, I think it's just people go there to do work. Like I mean, and it's just like legendary for that. Like people go with every intention of running their PR. Just like I would. Yeah, I just think that like if you go into it with that mindset of like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be somehow easier because it's a fast course. That's just not it. You just gotta be prepared to lock in, and it's just one of those races where you just get in and go. And I think that played against me last year. I think that somehow I really did have my mind that like this course is fast.
I think what you said was something that people don't think about enough is just because it's fast doesn't make it easy. It's still the marathon. You're still having to go in there, and if you want a PR, you gotta hurt. Like you gotta be prepared for the pain that comes with it. At mile 20, no matter how flat the course is, no matter how well you're doing, you gotta be prepared to keep pushing for the next 10K. So yeah, I'm sure it's a flat course. Records have been made there.
I mean, it is
PRs, but
it's blacktop. It's blacktop instead of concrete, which is softer. And over time, that plays into it. Like the whole course is super flat. There's no potholes and no little. Chicago is different. Like Chicago, there's some spots you need to watch where you step. Berlin.
I broke my ankle today.
Oh my god.
Mile 9.5 of the tempo, and I'm like, ooh, that would have been terrible.
Did you like roll it and you just like saved yourself?
Yeah, like it went into the like divot and kind of turned a little bit, but I popped up quick enough for it because I think I don't put my full like weight into each step. It feel like I pitter patter, so maybe that saved me.
But you sent a strong word letter to Gretchen Whitmer.
Somebody. I mean, we saw.
We
saw Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was about to say something.
I should have said something to him.
I was gonna say something to him, but he like 6'10". Like, never mind. Bro, but
hey, down here.
I'm all for Big Gretch, right? Like, salute the homie. But didn't she run on fixing the roads?
Fixing the damn roads. Why do you think it's construction?
Fixing the damn roads. Well, maybe she should have said fix the damn roads a little damn faster. Because
I mean, in all seriousness, the roads they're getting fixed pretty well. Lots of orange bales on the street, but you got to make sure that they're in my running areas, not like Northern Michigan or 75. Like who gives a
Hey, as a man that drives on I-75 quite a bit, I'm quite thankful for the well, I don't know about that new carpool lane, but you know, it's just a free lane for me.
Joe said, Tommy, remember old boy fell hard in front of us in Chicago, mile 10? Yeah. This dude was, you know how I think every marathon that I've ever run in, somebody fell. And it's never pretty, you know, because they don't ever expect to fall. I mean, it's not like you're just running along and all of a sudden you're just on the ground. You never fell in a marathon. You never fell in a marathon. Yeah. But imagine, go race. You running well, you think you're doing it good, and all of a sudden you're just on the ground and people are like jumping over you. and then
I gotta try to get up and beat all of them people.
Well, let's just talk about it. Joe brought it up because he's feeling good today. But let's talk about how selfish our friend Joe is. So this guy falls in front of me, and instead of what happened?
Oh, okay. No.
Oh, Joe didn't fall. The guy fell in front of me, hit the ground. Joe is like kind of like off to my side, but like trailing a little bit. And instead of doing what everybody else was doing, was just going around, Joe pushes me forward into like where the guy is. So I had to like try to leap over him while being pushed because Joe only looking out for himself. And almost like tweaked my like knee or something. I don't know. But that's the type of friend we have. Joe is gonna push you into the thing and say, "Oh my bad, I didn't mean to."
No, that's true. Actually,
he fell. Like he blamed it on the guy. He fell, bro. Like I'm like,
Joe ran into me running away from an animal once, like just full on flipping the head. and he
was the one that ended up on the ground. Yeah, that's what you get. And that was after Chicago. Payback, karma. That's what they called it. All right. Anyway, really quick. In all seriousness, Alexa said, any Berlin tips from me, Tommy? I would say get out there, forget all the people talking about as fast, just run your race, run planned. It's gonna feel like you should get out really quick. Run your plan, run your race. There is elite bottle stations for non-elites. I thought about doing it last year, and after seeing said table, I don't know if it's the best idea. The tables were like they had like 100 bottles on each table. People had like sparklers coming from their bottles and all type of stuff to try to like recognize them. It didn't seem like there's much like organization to it, because how could you? They just put a bunch of bottles on the table. It's almost like you should just hold your bottle. If you're gonna try to take one, I would rather just hold it than worry about that, because people said they couldn't find their bottles. And imagine like setting it up and like you just know like I'm gonna get my bottle at this point because I got an elite bottle set up, and you don't find it and you have to stop to look. I'm straight.
What Denzel Washington say? I'm leaving with
somebody.
Somebody's bottle gets swooped. I don't care.
Hey, I don't care what's in here. It could be water in your mate. I don't care. I'm taking the bottle. But it's get to the starting corrals earlier than you think, because there was a lot of confusion last year. I'm not sure if it was our fault. Yeah, people were jumping over bushes and like climbing over the fences and stuff like that, because it was just like the way that they were letting people go ends up putting you near the start line, and there is no way to get into the corrals from the start line. So just get there earlier. Make sure you got your plan set out. Run the tangents. And then just have a really good time. I mean, you go all the way over there, get acclimated as soon as possible to the time change, rest up, hydrate, all those things for all travel races, obviously. But Berlin is like, just get there whenever you get there and make sure you sleep and get your body set, because you don't want to be like as fit as you've ever been, and then you're just on your wrong time zone vibes, Yeah, Joe is I'm an only child, my bad. Yes, I accept that as an apology for pushing me in the race. Yeah. All right, do we have a Runners Anonymous?
We do.
We have Runners Anonymous. Okay, so we're gonna play. Gary's gonna play the Runners Anonymous for us. Also, if you're listening to this on the podcast platforms, if you want to be and you're watching this, you guys are always here. Youth the Faithfuls. If you have a tip or like a pet peeve or anything or a question that you want us to ask
You want to
or talk about, vent about whatever, mildly running related at least, go to the PR Project Instagram, leave a voice memo message, and we will play it. And if you want to leave your name, you can. It's called Runners Anonymous for a reason. We won't expose you. So let's get this going. You might want to go to the other side just in case, Gary. It might be designed to pick up your voice from the other side. There you go.
Hi guys, my question is, how are you integrating psychological training into your performance routines?
I do a lot of hypnotizing.
You hypnotize people?
No, I go to a hypnotist. And drugs. I'm just kidding.
All right. I mean, what do you have like so I listen to books. I listen I've always like had a couple, like I listened to one book, The Champion's Mind. That was always really cool. It has like a lot of tips for that athletes have used, normally Olympians have used in the past. So it's like little thing that they've done. Anything that I can do to sharpen up a little bit, or just have in the back of my mind, because it's really about like if you're having a great day and you got a 5-mile tempo and everything goes well and no mantras needed, then it's great. But it really, like, marathoning to me is about like how you handle like any and all adversities in your like a goal day. Because it's like we train for months just to get to one race, and there's a lot of pressure, and you need to be able to figure out how to like get over those moments when your dream goal race day isn't going as planned. And like, how do you handle it when like your legs feel like trash or you're breathing too hard at mile 10 and you got 16.2 miles to go? So like, I try my best to like listen to as much as possible and like recall some of those things on the run intentionally. And then whatever sticks and whatever works, use those and try to remember to use those like on race day.
I visualize the race. You know, if I've run it before, I'll have that in my memory, or I'll go onto YouTube and look for the course, and just visualize it. I'll watch it and I'll kind of try to run every mile through my head. I'll write down a game plan, you know, how I want my paces to go. You know, I try to think about things that might go wrong in terms of weather. How do I prepare for that? And just kind of think out every scenario I can, so I'm prepared for it mentally ahead of time. I have read or listened to books like The Champion's Mind that you did recommend, and I have used some of that in terms of mostly training, not really in the race yet. But my main thing is just visualization and a game plan going into the race.
For me, the way life has been dealing the cards for me, a silly little marathon is nothing. I think the term for it will be character development. Life has been using me for character development in my life and other people's lives as well. So, yeah, a marathon is realistically though.
I'm like, dang, man. I'm like, we gotta have a conversation after.
I was like, I thought I was the one doing the drugs. You got real deep all of a sudden.
hey, nah. But I've had my heart broken by marathons on many occasions. So I think I'm becoming acclimated to it. So, this is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I've heard that there's like a part in this one book that talks about like anger and like using anger and aggression to your benefit. Because it said it was like basically with all things equal, the angrier person wins the fight. Like all things equal though, like not like just rage, but just like a person that goes into it. Like there's been people in their career where they just kept running to a wall, and then use that like maybe like a form of anger to push and break through like a barrier that they saw in front of them, instead of like turn, because like it's either you approach it like with some aggression and anger, or you're just like defeated, and that's the latter is not you, because I mean obviously like you just keep signing up and like here we go, and then train different, work harder, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean I think we all have like our own ways of just dealing with stuff, you know, and some ways that we deal with things in life and running are just maybe unproductive and unhelpful. And then like that's the cool thing about running is like life is kind of crazy. Like you make mistakes and it's like, you know, it's like you pay for it, other people pay for it, you know what I mean? But like in running, it's like at least you get to test, and you don't run well in a marathon. It's like worst case scenario, you just didn't run well in a marathon. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you're kind of joking, but it's like, I mean, it is what it is. Like it's just running, you know. So like it sucks, it's terrible, and it's whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, you just get to sign up for another one, you know, eventually, whenever you feel like it again, or you just decide to never run one again. You run a half, or you do whatever you want to do. But it's like how we deal with like the adversities of it. It's kind of cool that you just get to be like, okay, here's how I'm gonna do this different, and then you try it again, you know, and that mimics life, but with like lower stakes.
Yep. I was listening to the Strength Running podcast with the Leadville 100 winner David Roche on there. He was saying like it took me 18 years to become an overnight success. He was like, I put so much work, and I failed so many times that everything finally came together and clicked for me. But he's 36 years old. He's like, I've been running my whole life, and I finally got to a point where I feel like I ran a race that was indicative of what my capabilities were. And I'm just like, yeah, like everything doesn't happen like right when you want it to, but you hang in there long enough and you stay honest and stay committed to your goals, you can make them happen.
Yeah,
it's right there for you. Like just gotta. What did Michael Jordan say? I never lost. I just ran out of time. Just don't run out of time. Just give yourself the opportunity.
Yeah, right. And in this thing we're doing, there isn't. I mean, we really know there. You don't run out of time. You just bring it back. Do it again. But I think that brings that we might as well end it there. Thanks so much for everybody who is tapped in live. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe and do all the things that you're supposed to do for podcasts that you love. Like share it with a friend, you know, post it on Instagram, talk about how amazing we are, all those things.
True.
True. Word. But
True.
Peace out, guys. We will be back next. Oh yeah. Tap into to jump on Instagram. And so Aaron posted this thing. I mean, it's if I had to like do like a 1 to 10, 1 being a trash post, 10 being like the best post I've ever seen, I probably get like a 7.5, something like that. Go check out Aaron's Instagram. He posted his Chicago drop, saying like letting people know he's running Chicago. It has a little game to it though, so jump in there, make sure you play the game. Find the differences in the two posts or the two pictures. Good job. Excited to see you guys in Chicago, in Berlin, or wherever else you're gonna be that I may be as well. Peace out, and I think we like you guys a lot. Hey, remember to stay 10 toes down on that thing.